the presentation is simple, but it expects a little bit of experience from your side. And we have 10 slides in total. One is the title slide, one is the FAQ slide, that is gone, one is the agenda slide. So primarily there are 7 slides. So can we have the next slide, please? So we are going to understand why it is important to have airtight security for an e-commerce website. You already have security. Security is important for any website, but especially when e-commerce is concerned, why does it warrant heightened security? What all investment goes into an e-commerce website? Can you tell? You buy premium plugins? Yes. You hire a very costly developer? Yes. Web hosting, premium hosting. You have a special configured Cloudflare, CDN and whatever, paid plans, everything. Plus, if you have a 2 to 3 year old website, that means you have been in business, right? खाली पीले नहीं है कि चलो website कल बंद कर देंगे, right? So this means your website is in business and it is running and it is a revenue generator for you. It is a bread earner. Lot of people trust your brand to buy your products, and there is a lot of strategy and effort that goes into building a brand. So that brand trust value is at stake, reputation is at stake, and if a reputation goes down, it is not easy to recover it in a single day or a single month, right? So technical investment is there, marketing, SEO is an ongoing thing. You spend a lot on SEO, and by the time you realize, if you count it at the end of the year, you would realize that you really spend a lot on SEO and advertising, if you are advertising. Next slide, please. Thank you. So there are billions at stake. Cyber fraud is happening everywhere, and especially when you have a very promising and working e-commerce website which is doing a lot of business, it is always on the target of hackers. Why? Because your audience or your customer are their customers as well. What they want to do is hijack your customers, your audience, and sell them their products. So if you're ranking on first page of Google, you're definitely getting attacked. You would not know, but someone will tell you that I went to your website and your website was redirecting to me a drug store or somewhere, right? Otherwise, you can go through logs and see it real time. If you have Apache server, you can actually monitor the real time logs. And even in Nginx, if you go to the shell, you can monitor the real time logs as to who is accessing what, right? So next slide, please. So what is the true cost of a recovery from malware attack? Number one, you have to hire an expert. Why? Because typically what happens is your usual developers, they will try to say, okay, maybe file a ticket with a web hosting person, right? It is not my job. I only know PHP, JavaScript and all that kind of thing, right? Some senior developers or who have been into the field, they can probably install a plugin, they can do a malware scan and clean up the website. But at the end of the day, what really is required is not only are you supposed to clean up the website, you also have to do a root cause analysis. चोर घर में घुसा तो किधर से घुसा, right? If you keep that door open, am I on time? If you keep that door open, they will get back in again. Now you think you're smart enough, I'll restore a backup. The backup has the same backdoor, so they will get in again. It's like trying to fill leaking tank. कितना भी पानी भरो, वो निकल जाएगा. So you really need to find out you need to do a root cause analysis on why is your site compromised. Is it because of insecure plugins? Is it because you have a fake user, administrative user created, someone who forgot a password or whose password has been leaked? Is it because of misconfigured security, the hosting settings, something of that sort? It takes a lot of workload to clean up a website. You have to, once your site is cleaned, the hackers get pissed off. What they do is they try to get in your site again. मेरे को इसने बाहर निकाल दिया, मैं अब इसके अंदर घुस के दिखाऊंगा. Yes? So they try to get back in again, and for the next 7 days to 14 days, you have to closely monitor your site. Because if the security loophole is not plugged in correctly, they will certainly get back inside. Third thing is time-intensive restoration. Sometimes you have to restore a backup because your entire site is corrupt. So somehow you take a backup of the database, try to restore it, try to restore the files while keeping the database. So it is a time-intensive thing. And once you lose your branding and trust, it can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months to get it back, right? Next slide, please. Okay. So, any decent e-commerce website which has been in the business for 2 to 3 years, they would have a monthly maintenance package. How many of you here offer a monthly maintenance package to your clients? Wonderful. Any more? Very good. So what do you do in typical maintenance? You do a backup. What else? Very good. Yes. The cheat sheet is right here. You do a web optimization, Google speed check and all that kind of thing. एक बार कैश क्लियर करके दोबारा से कैश करने का, लोड करके देखने का, बैकअप डाउनलोड करके देखने का, बैकअप सही है कि नहीं है, all those kind of usual things you do, and you obviously charge for it. Free तो नहीं है, Some of you may also be offering SEO packages, monthly SEO or that kind of thing. Now what I suggest you do is you add a security element or security component to this monthly package, right? And you charge for it, because that is where you deliver real value to your client. Next please. So typically, mostly any decent maintainer who's maintaining a website, they would have a checklist, right? Backup kiya? Yes. Ye kiya? Yes. Optimize kiya? Yes. Done, done, done. Add some security items to your checklist, which you can actually send as a report to your customer to emphasize your value, what kind of value you bring to their business. So for example, every month you can run a automated scan, right? WordPress runs an automated scan if you set it to, but otherwise it does not, right? You have to set it to run a periodic scan, right? There are other malware scanners like Securi is one, Malcare is one, Malcure is one, right? So whichever thing you get comfortable with, use at least one malware scanner. Monthly maintenance में malware scan किया, check, ठीक है? Blacklist check. How do you check blacklist? Anyone? If your site is blacklisted somewhere, how do you check it? Yes. When you go to site check.security.com, it will check some major things. The next one is virus total. It has got around 30 to 40 blacklists on the same page. You enter the site URL and virus total, and it will give you all the vendors, whether your site is blacklisted somewhere or not. What happens is these blacklists are copied by different vendors. So some site may be blocked in Australia while it is working in the US, but could be blocked somewhere else. And these people, they aggregate data. So the data from one blacklist goes to the other. That fellow will add his own thing. He will also share his thing. So this is all shared aggregated data. Second thing, you can do a firewall setup for the clients and ensure that firewall rules are always up to date. Mostly you will never have to actually manually do it, but all you need to do is put in a checklist item. Firewalls have been updated, yes. Sometimes some firewalls, if there is a permission issue, malware issue, some kind of issue, plugin is broken, site is slow, they may not update the firewall rules. For example, one very common thing is server disk is full. So they have no place to download the firewall rules, right? Site will continue to run, but you will not be able to create a new user. You will not be able to create a new post because server is full, disk is full. Security audits you can do. Very common thing in security audit is just to go through the log. If you are comfortable with shell, you can have some basic commands to grab through those logs. So you can identify, okay, is there a particular IP which is attacking me a lot? Is there a specific kind of request that is hitting my site a lot? So that kind of security logging, and it barely takes 10 minutes. Once you have a process in place, it is easy to rinse and repeat. It is only going to take a little bit of effort the first time. Backup validation, you have a backup, the site fails, you try to restore a backup, the backup fails. Very bad. So you can always have a backup validation kind of testing. So you download a backup. How do you backup a WordPress? Simplest way to backup WordPress. Okay, that is a plugin based thing, yes. Sorry? Very good, yes. WP? Yes, that is one. She's cheating, she belongs to my team. Yes. Yes, updraft. Sakadi घेतली. Okay. Yes. So the simplest way I do is I have a script. WPCLI DB export, ठीक है, DB export हो गया आपका, उसके बाद क्या करने का, zip tar cvjf whatever backup name you want to give and that WordPress directory, so it includes file also or the database also zipped, ठीक है. After backup you forget to delete the database dump, what happens, your database get leaked, right? So be smart enough to remove that database dump. अभी जो आपने WPCLI से database dump किया, don't forget to remove it. So that is backup validation. If you add these 5-7 items, you certainly can emphasize your value, what kind of security value you bring to your client, right? So how do you get familiar with this? Mostly everybody is interested in security, but they are hesitant to deliver it as a service. ऐसा होता है ना कि पेंट करना आता है, but उसके लिए पैसे नहीं मांग सकते, इतना confidence नहीं है, right? How do you get confident? You do it every day for your own website. You do it every day for your own website. Nobody is going to stop you from doing that, right? Then you can assess your client's website. Does my client's website fails on these specific tests? Is there a firewall in place? Do they have a regular malware scan kind of thing? Am I already delivering them backup validation kind of thing? All these kind of tests you can do, and you can identify a list of items that you can offer your client in your maintenance package. You say, sir, you are earning well, and this much is at stake. It is your stuff, you know, it is my job to bring it to your notice. It is going to be better, it is going to probably save you thousands of dollars just in case if malware happens to strike. And then, you know, you will realize that it had always been a wise investment to invest in security. Because your site is popular, you are selling well, make sure that you buy our services. You know, you can buy it from anyone, but we recommend you buy it from us because we are the experts. Next, please. So where do you go for learning? WordPress support forums. How did you learn WordPress? How did you learn WordPress? Yes, local meetup, XAMPP installation, local IIS installation on Windows, sometimes installing PHP, maybe going into some server and trying to set up your own website. That is how everybody learns, right? So for malware, what you do is you actually go to these forums and see what kind of malware attacks are happening. And you will find a lot of people who are giving the wrong advice also. Just restore it from a backup. Just delete everything and start again. Or just delete and restore the database, but the plugins will go missing, right? So the right way of cleaning a malware, there is a certain process to clean a malware, which I will try to cover in another talk of mine. So you need to go to WordPress support forums because that is the first place people go. Another very popular place is Reddit. You go to Reddit and you see so much of malware threads as if, you know, Reddit is all about malware, right? And you go and there is some very decent advice over there. So Reddit forums you can go. Then there is a lot of support forums on Facebook as well. You just watch and learn instead of trying to give advice, you know, to misdirect the other people to delete their and kill their own website. You know, just sit over there, try to learn what is valuable, how do other experts do these things, how do they discover vulnerabilities, how do they advise their clients in time. And obviously you can reach me anytime. You know, I don't charge for this kind of thing, right? Next, please. Key takeaways. Every slide has a key takeaway at the bottom, if you had been paying attention. If not, this presentation is available online. malcare.com/klh25. Right? So key takeaways for business owners, jitna investment kiya hai, all that is at risk. Whatever you have invested for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years, it is always at risk until unless you have a firewall in place, you have regular security checks in place to save your investment. Because it is not about if, it is about when. Malware will strike. Most of the malware strikes during Christmas vacation. Because clients are having Merry Christmas and malware hackers are bachelors mostly. Right? So they are working 24/7, extra hard because nobody is watching, right? तो अभी साइट हैक हो गया तो 7 दिन तक तो अपना ही है साइट फिर. कितना भी ट्रैफिक रिडायरेक्ट करो, कितना भी malware स्प्रेड करो, नया यूजर डाल दो, बैकडोर डाल दो, है ना? So that even if they try to clean WordPress, पता चला infection has gone to the cPanel level that you have to change your entire account. That happened recently with me. ठीक है? For website maintenance, up your game. It is not enough to learn CSS, it is not enough to keep up with JavaScript, it is not enough to learn PHP, it is not enough to create blocks and themes and plugins, right? Learn security so that you can create good secure themes and plugins. Very important to learn security essentials, how to validate data, how to validate user input, how to sanitize input when it is shown on the front end. If anything goes south, either there will be an injection in the database or in the file system, there will be a backdoor, right? So educate yourself, get confident. Confidence comes from work, experience. For both, security is not a plugin. You cannot say, I have installed a firewall and a scanner and tata bye-bye, that's all. No, you cannot do that. Zero trust security, don't trust anyone. You know? Always keep recording. Like, there is a joke about this. Why do people have bindi on their head? Why do women have bindi on their head? Because they are always recording. So keep logs, keep all the traces of whatever incidents have happened so that you can do forensic research, you can actually reverse engineer the thing, how the malware got into this thing. All right? Last slide, I think. Any questions, I'm very happy to answer here. I hope I am still on time, right? Do I have 5 minutes? How much? Yes. Yes. As long as you have to, keep that site as a breadwinner, you have to make sure that your site stays safe. You don't trust anyone. The moment some team member leaves, you make sure the account is restricted, change passwords every time, maybe shuffle the salts. Shuffling the salts. What does shuffling the salts do in WordPress? Yes? So what does it do, basically? If you shuffle the salts, what does it do? Okay. How? Shuffling the salts? Okay. So WordPress does not work without a file called wp-config.php. It is mostly in your base WordPress directory, or sometimes for security reasons people actually put it one level above the WordPress directory, right? So that wp-config file will have 8 salts, right? These salts are used as encryption keys to encrypt your passwords and all those kind of things. So your sessions, once you log in, there is a session created in WordPress database and it is encrypted. Now the moment you shuffle these salts, it logs out everyone from WordPress. So even if a hacker has an active session over there, they will be logged out. Right? So if you shuffle the salts, it's a tricky thing to say, pronounce. Shuffle the salts periodically, you make sure that everybody gets logged out. It's not something that I recommend doing frequently. Maybe someone is in the middle of a checkout and you shuffle the salts and they lost the cart and they lose the session. But yes, once every while, maybe once a month or twice a month, maybe when the server load is less on a Sunday night, you can shuffle the salts. So, can you trust the local machine? No. Something that you use on a daily basis will have your kids and wife tampering around, and maybe some other people as well, right? Maybe by chance you end up deleting your own laptop, right? So always keep backups on a third-party site like a cloud storage or somewhere. Those things can be trusted. Maybe if you password protect them, obviously cloud accounts are password protected, but you can actually encrypt backups and you can actually apply a password to the backup file itself. But it's best to keep it on a third-party drive, cloud drive. So there is an API for shuffling the salts. If you just Google API shuffle salts WordPress, you'll get the first hit will be wordpress.org. And there, every time you reload the page, it will give you the values that you can copy and paste in wp-config. The second way is wp-CLI. So in wp-CLI, you just type in wp-config shuffle-salts. I'll say salt shuffled. So everybody will be thrown out. So monitoring tools, number one is you want to monitor. If you set up this Google Search Console, if your website is detected as infected, Google Search Console will send you an email. And even in the Search Console, you will be able to figure it out. Second is, there is a third-party service called Uptime Robot. It will keep a track of things if your website goes down, right? Also, there are multiple kinds of scanners. Now, one scanner which you typically use on your desktop is called on-access scan. So the moment you try to access a file or open a file, it will first scan the file and then it will let you open it. If it is malicious, it will delete the file and inform you that so-and-so virus was detected, it has been quarantined. But this kind of a system is pretty rare on a Linux distro, which is what we typically use. ClamAV is a good solution, and ClamAV can be configured for on-access scan. But it is not recommended to have an on-access scanner because there is a slight delay it adds to file access. Every time you try to access a file, it will first scan it and then it will let you open a file. But ClamAV can be automated. You can schedule a automation kind of a thing that every month or every 15 days or every 7 days it will scan your entire website and it will send you an alert. You can actually automate that process through some bash scripting so that it can email you whatever results it finds, right? The only challenge which I've personally noticed is that WordPress malware is specific to WordPress. वो एक अलग प्रजाति है वायरस की. Typical virus that infects your desktop is not something that you'll find on servers, not something you'll find on Drupal or WordPress. Every malware family is different. So WordFence, there is GOTMLS, anti-malware plugin. It has got excellent definitions. WordFence has got excellent definitions. I will not promote my plugin because I know it is the best. So from an e-commerce perspective or from any usage perspective, any platform which is the most used platform will always be the highest on the target, right? So if you consider whether Windows is more secure or Linux is more secure, Windows is mostly used. So everybody is trying to attack Windows because मेहनत करेगा तो उधर ही फल मिलेगा ना उसका. अभी वो ऐसा कोई ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम पे अटैक करेगा जिसपे कि कोई यूज भी नहीं करता तो उसको क्या मिलेगा इतना मेहनत करके. So they always try to attack where stakes are high and where the return on investment, if I could call it, return on hacking is high. So that is why WordPress, because it is so widely spread, because there are so many plugins, third-party plugins, Codex plugins, repository plugins, it is always going to be high on the target. But then also WordPress is the first to patch up the security holes. You will not find security reporting mechanisms on any other platform like we have on WordPress. Like we or you have on WordPress, it is ours. Yeah, so what happens is, in order to build that kind of a database, you need to collect data from so many thousands of sites. One company I know of is Securi. The other company is WordFence, right? So these people have malware samples. We also have malware samples, but we don't have a database through which you can search and currently identify it. Of course, you can use My Scanner to scan it. But if you're looking for a database, WordFence has an excellent vulnerability database. So if you install WordFence, even if your website is not infected, it will show this plugin is vulnerable, kindly update it in time so that it does not end up infecting your website. Right? Okay, I'm running short of time, but thank you so much for being such a lovely audience, and thank you once again.